let's start with Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have to honor the anniversary. A couple of days ago was the anniversary of the launch of Instagram, which started in 2010.
Yep.
And was acquired, I think, a few years later in 2012. I think it was acquired for $1 billion by Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook at the time, which later transformed into Meta. Early acquisition, and a lot of people were, not really sure about the valuation, $1 billion valuation, something that didn't have any revenue at the time. Now I think it's worth $70 billion, something like that. Maybe more. Who knows?
Yep.
Okay, so talking about Meta stock, we'll talk about how Instagram has impacted that. But your thoughts on that situation?
I don't think he gets enough credit at the time. I remember shout to McHale, who was on the Instagram team. I think he was like employee number 4, something like that, when he told me about the acquisition. I don't think Zuckerberg gets enough credit for making this move at a time when the brand was failing. And I wish Apple would have done something very similar over the last 5 or 6 years to acquire a company that would give them new life. At a time when the app Facebook was not having as much traction. And then, of course, they had the Cambridge Analytica issue later down the line. They've done a great job at acquiring companies that are going to boost not only the revenue, but just boost like time spent on their platform. So it's a great lesson in acquiring what could be your competitors and having the long-term vision to see that this platform could replace us. So let's acquire it and put it into our ecosystem. I think they're easily doing, I think we are $30 to $50 billion a year in revenue. If they were publicly traded, it would knock a lot of people out of contention as well. So it's one of those additions that you, in the beginning, when everybody was saying it was a mistake to pay that value for it, the multiple he's got on it is absolutely amazing. And of course, it's driven the stock up as a result. So this is definitely one of the best acquisitions of all time. Them and Google acquiring YouTube are neck and neck for like the last 15 years for the best acquisitions of all time in tech.
I'm glad you threw that layup because I'm going to give you the numbers here, my brother. I'm going to say that it is indeed the greatest acquisition of all time. Like you said, Shadi said $70 billion valuation in 2024. In 2018, Bloomberg had its Instagram's valuation at over 100 billion. Right, so the purchase was 1 billion. The value, even if it falls in the middle range of that, 70 to 80 billion. You're talking about
80x return is amazing.
80x. I used to say Google. I did. I said when they purchased YouTube for 1.6 in 2006, and obviously you can see what Google has done and its importance, especially the way we view content and content is created in this creator economy. It means a lot. Google's valuation on its own this year is valued at $32 billion. So 32x. Just the math alone, it's doubled it.
You can't argue. Yeah.
As far as acquisitions, it has to be just on the value proposition alone, if not the greatest one of superseding the YouTube purchase by Google. But you got to look at WhatsApp as well. So like in 2010, you buy Facebook for $1 billion, but in 2014, you purchase WhatsApp for $19 billion. So you 19x is that. Now, has WhatsApp brought back the same amount of revenue? Not as much, but again,
it's still a great return.
Still a great return, but you're looking at the field. You're saying this actually could hurt our brand. That could be competition for our brand. Let's acquire both. Let's put it under the same umbrella. Now you have WhatsApp, which is used globally. In fact, when we talk to our people in Ghana, they always say like, "Yo, y'all don't check y'all WhatsApp." That's an American thing. Like everybody else checks their WhatsApp as the way of communication. You take into what Facebook has done, which is now Meta with over 3 billion, right? I think nearly half the people on the planet have a Facebook account. Tie into Instagram with the hundreds of millions, if not billions of users on there. I mean, you have the world's economy at your hand, at your fingertips to put ads on and to collect data from. An amazing acquisition. If not the greatest, definitely 1 or 2 for me.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's number 2. I think YouTube is bigger than Instagram, but it's still up there for sure. And I personally want to thank Kevin Strom and Mike Keeger and also Mark Zuckerberg, because Instagram changed my life.
Yeah.
changed our lives for sure. And you know, the story with Instagram was in 2012. That's when I first heard about it. Shout out to Val, good friend of mine. She kind of introduced me to the app, and at that time it was just pictures, and you had to have an iPhone. And very shortly, I knew that Instagram was going to change the world, and we actually had a fashion blog before we actually started Earn Your Leisure. Shout out to Eddie. I remember I had an idea for this fashion blog. I spoke to Eddie, another friend of ours. Shout out to Eddie, wherever he's at in the world right now. And then we went to Troy.
Is that right here?
We explained it to Troy. Then Mike. And that didn't really take off, but the idea was a good idea. It just wasn't executed well. And then a few years later, shout out to Mike. That's when we kind of developed a plan for my own personal financial planning business. And we used to do photo shoots at his apartment complex. We did photo shoots, public access show. Everybody knows me and Troy was teaching in the class. It was updates as far as we had an app. I remember I had an app that because the goal was just to get 10,000 followers. So it was an app at that time. It was like all kinds of hacks and tricks. Like you follow people and then you unfollow them. And the theory is like if you follow somebody, they're gonna follow you back. And then it was just like anything, hashtags, like all kinds of stuff to kind of make the algorithm. It was like just get to 10,000 followers, because like once you get to 10,000 followers, then you'll be able to have enough momentum to just kind of keep moving from there. So long story short, that thesis proved to be correct, but it wouldn't have been possible without the platform of Instagram. So just Instagram, I mean, of course, it has a lot of negative flaws to it, but I mean, we do have to put things in perspective. The way it democratized the ability to reach millions of people, and there was other platforms before it, Facebook and MySpace, but Instagram just kind of hit culture in a different way. And the way it was just able to democratize and be able to reach millions of people, billions of people all over the world for free. For messages that range from anything from fitness to cooking to financial literacy. It's a revolutionary tool, and one of the greatest inventions, I think, of all time when it comes to social media in general, but Instagram specifically, because like I said, I mean, just the speed that it took paced, and to be able to build a media platform on the back of another tech platform is kind of amazing if you think about it. In a short period of time, now we're able to meet world leaders. We sat down with Kamala Harris, and we're able to go to different countries and meet billionaires and all of that. And that's all done through building infrastructure on a free platform that's on your cell phone. So that's our blueprint. And it wouldn't have been possible without Instagram. That's why I'm always going to be a supporter of Meta. So it's like, that's why when Meta was having his hard times a few years ago, I never jumped ship on Meta, because I understand the genius of Meta, and I understand the revolutionary, ideas that come from being able to connect people. People's lives have really been changed by this platform, and our lives has been changed by this platform. So just wanted to put that out there, because it is important to show gratitude. That's a major key in life. And I am specifically grateful for the platform, because it allowed us to do everything that we would not have been able to do. Like we would not have been able to spread financial literacy. We would not been able to have different communications and theories and talk and be thought leaders. We would not have been able to do that if it wasn't for our cell phone and if it wasn't for the app that was Instagram. So kudos to Instagram, much success. And it's been an amazing journey thus far, for sure.
Yeah. I'm interested why I'm just interested why why number 2 over Google.
Well, I just think that YouTube is bigger than Instagram. And I feel like YouTube has broke even more boundaries as far as like being able to, when you talk about long form content, now you're able to become even just the idea of long form content is just revolutionary. Right before that, you had to be a movie director. Like people take it for granted to be able to even Market Mondays 2 hours every single. It was like it was radio. Like, but the visual aspect of that, there was no visual long form aspect of anything. You had to put out a documentary or you had to be a TV. Now it's commonplace that everything is like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 19 keys, put 4 hour videos up. So the way they have more users than Instagram, but the way that they have been able to really change the landscape as far as content for content creators, being able to monetize, we still have never made a penny on Instagram. After all the praises that I sung,
that's crazy.
We still have never made $1 from Meta yet.
How is that possible?
Good question. Good question. So yeah, we still got some issues. But yeah, I just feel like YouTube is just, it just, that really just took everything and just put it on his head. And like I said, now NFL is on YouTube now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different things that has YouTube kind of democratized.
It took over TV.
Fact.
Yeah.
My son, like, they grew up on you. He didn't grow up on
He
grew up on YouTube.
Yeah. I'm not mad at that argument.
But like I said, one or two, either way, it's still Instagram is still a very important part. But man, that YouTube just came and just
I did. I mean, from 2006 on, like you said, if you're born post 2006, this has been your TV. This is the way you consume content. This is the way you watch shows. Like my son was telling me yesterday, he watched a video of somebody talking crazy about me. I was like, well, you got to understand how humbling that is. That somebody woke up, thought about daddy, took time to make a video about daddy. No matter what they said, they were thinking about me, and it wasn't the other way around. So shout out. Let's pray for them, and hopefully they do well in life. Shout out to those people. But you're right.
And it's not be different to get 415 views and get $22, and then
we pray for them. It's the way that you consume it, and it goes back to that user base. That's not slowing down. So like when you have a young child, what are you going to put on, right? If you're not watching Disney Channel, most time they're watching YouTube and they're figuring out some baby show or something that can be educational.
For the ABC channel,
It works. I'm just looking from the amount of revenue that is, or the valuation standpoint, and the fact that the AI integration I was looking at, and we'll talk about AI, I'm sure, the AI integration that's happening on Meta, the way that they're going to, and they don't have long form content, but the way AI is going to play a role in the development of Instagram and Meta overall, and how YouTube, I mean, at some point, I'm sure they'll be able to use AI to create videos and create content on the site itself. Not there yet, but it'd be interesting how that plays out.